So, good morning, collective. It's been a little while since I've done a video. I had to heal myself, both metaphysically and physically speaking. I wasn't feeling well the other week when I did my last video, and I ended up finding out a few days later that I actually had COVID, and that was my first time having it, or my only time having it. I'm gonna say, because I do not want it again, so I'm gonna speak that it was my only time having it since the pandemic started. And y'all, it was bad. Like, I got sick with the flu back in, what was it, 2021, and that was my first time ever having the flu. I've never had the flu my whole life, and I never even took the vaccines. I work in healthcare, and of course, like, if any of you work in healthcare, you know that it's required to have the flu vaccine. I mean, you can go through the whole process of like getting an exemption, but I don't feel like doing all that. So I just go ahead and take the vaccine. But growing up, my mom she never got us vaccinated. She was one of those moms where she was like, look, one of those, what do you, God made dirt and dirt don't hurt. Like she was one of those, like, your body, you have a natural immune system. Your body is going to kick in and do what it's supposed to do. Now, of course, if you have an underlying condition or some sort of autoimmune disease, your body may not necessarily function the way that it's supposed to. You might need aid by way of, medications or something, steroids, in order to get your body to mount an immune response. But for typically healthy people, my mom was like, your body's going to do what it needs to do. So growing up, I never got the flu vaccine, but I started getting it once I started working in healthcare. And my first time having the flu 2 years ago, and it was horrible. Like, I did not enjoy it, but I will take the flu any day over ever having COVID again. COVID was bad, and I don't know why they changed the regulations. It used to be quarantine for 10 days if you have a positive, and then retest, and if you're negative and your symptoms are gone, you're free to go back to. I think when it first came out, it was like 2 weeks, like 14 days, I believe, and it went down to 10 days. Now it's like 5 days. I don't know why, because unless you are just super young and healthy, 5 days is not long enough to quarantine with COVID. But it may just be because I'm getting older. Younger people who are healthier, I could stand to lose some weight, probably would get it and not have as bad as a reaction to it as I did. And then, of course, there are people who have gotten it who have had much, much worse outcomes. So definitely thankful. But either way, because I'm taking up too much time talking about this, it's not even what I want to talk about. But feeling a little bit better now. My voice is still not all the way up. I'm still a little congested, but all in all, feeling much, much, much better. But y'all, so I returned to work this week, right? And so Tuesday, I went in Tuesday to fill in for a coworker who was sick and was not able to go in. So I went in on Tuesday, which now I don't work during the week anymore. I'm weekends only. I talked about that a few videos ago, just because of wanting more time and wanting a better work-life balance, right? My apologies. My recording got interrupted because a call came in. But either way, what was I saying? I changed my schedule because I want a better work-life balance. So instead of working 5 days a week and being off 2, I work 3 days a week and I'm off 4. And I'm actually trying to tweak that even more. I'm trying to be very strategic. I had a coworker at my new position that left, so now the evening shift is short. So I go in sometimes to fill in to help out. But it's messing up the way that they're doing their schedule, and they have it where they actually what do they do? They do once a month weekend rotations, but I think they're changing it now to where they may have to do every third or maybe even every other. Like, if they go every third, they're going to be short. So they're going to have to each person's going to have to work like two departments, or if they go to every other, they'll be fully staffed. But I'm thinking about volunteering because right now I'm doing weekend nights and I'm working 3 nights a week, weekend nights. But I'm thinking about volunteering to do the evening shift and just doing two doubles, like just going in like both Saturday and Sunday and working two double shifts, working both evening and nights, and just doing 16 hours. And then that'll be 32 hours a week, which right now I'm doing 30 hours a week. I'm part-time anyways. I'm doing 30 hours a week. But if I do the two doubles, it'll bump me up to 32 hours a week. So I'll be working only 2 days, but it'll be more hours in those 2 days. And it'll give me just a tiny bit a tiny bit more money from those extra 2 hours, but not a significant amount because it's only 2 hours. But I'm thinking about doing that. I don't know. I guess I'll look into that a little bit further. But yeah, I could no longer do the work 5 off 2. It was just eating, because then, you get off of work and it doesn't really matter what shift you work. If you work night shift, you're sleeping all day. If you work evening shift, it's cutting through your entire day. And if you work day shift, you have the busiest shift because it's days, and some depending on the healthcare facility, evening shifts can be very busy because then you get like a lot of outreach and things like that. But typically in a hospital setting, depending on which department you work in, day shift is going to be the busiest. So you work day shift and, you get off and you're tired and you're exhausted. And like the people who get off of work and still go home and change and go out and do things and hang out, like I admire you, because working day shift, I got off, I would get home and I would be exhausted. Like I wouldn't even feel like cooking. I'd be so tired, right? It just felt like another chore. It didn't feel like, oh, let me go home and do this. It literally just felt like something else on my list that I had to do. And it got to the point where I was like cutting, like, well, we'll just, we started, eating out more. We'll just go, grab something to eat or do this or that. And I'll just, do laundry on this day. So then laundry started piling up because I was doing laundry on a specific day of the week, instead of like dividing it up. So then laundry became a chore because once laundry day came around, now it's like you have this huge pile. So it was like my everyday life and things that I needed to do became a chore. Even when I told myself, like, I want to read more. I want to get back into reading. I want to read more, stop watching so much TV. I, cut out TV. I even got my cable turned off. Like, I'm not going to be wasting my time watching so much TV. But even trying to set aside that time to pick up a book and read a book felt like a chore because I was just so exhausted. So what I'm trying to do, my ultimate goal is to flip my whole schedule so that I'm working 2 and off 5. That is my ultimate goal. So I'm going to see if I can finesse that a little bit. Try to see if I can manifest that into existence. But either way, y'all, because I'm still completely off topic. Either way. So I was leaving Tuesday night, right? And I'm like a millennial technically, but my parents growing up were military, so we moved around a lot. And the times where there was twice where my parents were stationed to go overseas. And instead of taking us with them, we went to go stay with our grandparents. So I spent, a significant amount of time with my grandparents. And then we grew up in that age where like we still went to our grandparents' house over the summer. Like I know which is kind of weird, but I get it, right? Because nowadays, so many grandparents are raising their kids. Kids aren't really going to their grandparents for the summer anymore because a lot of grandkids are with their grandparents multiple times, throughout the week. So grandparents, they need a break too. But we grew up in that era where we went to our grandparents' house over the summer. Like that was our summer camp. We went to grandma's summer camp and it would be like all the cousins and everything. And as an adult, I really appreciate that because we really knew our family. We weren't, because I've known people who are like their cousins and their aunts and stuff. They all live in the same city and they never see each other. And I'm like, that's crazy because, my parents were military. My aunts and uncles were also military. So there were times where we were all in different states and we couldn't really see each other. And then my parents divorced, so there were times where we lived with my mom, mostly my mom, times where we lived with my dad. But anytime that there were several times where we would happen to be where my mom or my father would be stationed in the same state that like my uncle or my aunt and my cousins would be in. And whenever that happened, we spent time together like all the time. So we like really knew each other growing up. So going to grandma's house was always a blast. But so yeah, I could even go so far as to saying like myself, my siblings, and my cousins, we are all millennials, age range, but we are like 60% millennials, like 40% Gen X, because we spent excuse me, we spent so much time with our grandparents growing up, right? So I definitely get it. But I don't like the radio, right? Because I'm still off topic. I don't like the radio. I have like my own little like YouTube playlist and my own little playlist that I have on my phone that I listen to. And I just connect my Bluetooth to my car and listen to my old school music, right? So I was leaving work, and this was 9 o'clock, around 9 p.m. So I was leaving work, and one of my playlists was playing, and then out of nowhere, the playlist or my Bluetooth disconnected. So whenever that happens, it automatically goes to the radio, to whatever the last station was that I was listening to. So it went to the radio, and as soon as it did that, this song was just starting, and it was "Close Friends" by Lil Baby, right? And when that song came on, like immediately I just felt this kind of nervous, like anxious, but also like slightly sad and regretful kind of feeling. So I'm sitting there and I'm listening to the words, and it's like, what we started off as close friends, but somehow you turned into my girlfriend. And then he said, we used to tell each other everything. And there was like a part in the song where he goes, what did he say? If I did what I did to you, what did he say? It's something like if I did what I did to you, or if you did what I did to you, I'd take you back. I probably would. Wait, I probably wouldn't. Right. And there was one part of a song that really stuck out. And he said, I did the unthinkable. Right. I did the unthinkable. So when that part came, it just kind of like it got stuck in my head. Then after that, like the whole ride home, that song just was like stuck in my head after that. Right. And like the message that came through, first of all, it's kind of like a dual message, because after that song went off, I put my playlist back on, and the song that came on was actually "Be Still" by Big Boy from Outkast. And there's a part in the very beginning of the song where he goes, my heart is on Do Not Disturb, right? So this is the message that came through, right? And it's like a two-part, right? So there's someone out there who's like really missing you, either that or this is a chosen one who is really missing someone else. But I get the sense that like somebody, it's like a little bit of, well, it's like at this point they're allowing pride to kind of get in the way, because they're kind of stuck in their head like, well, if they had done what I did to them, would they take me back? They might. Or wait, probably they wouldn't. Like kind of like that back and forth, like how he says in the song, I probably would. Wait, I probably wouldn't. So I'm getting like that kind of like back and forth energy. But the thing about it is like it's coming through in like this kind of dual message, right? Because I keep getting like part of it is I'm getting that somebody left, whether this be you, chosen one, you left and this person is in regret, or this person left and chosen one, you're in regret. But I'm getting like a lot of childish acts, and the actual art depiction that I'm going to use here is like Winnie the Pooh, right? Winnie the Pooh, because I'm getting like for whoever is in this regretful energy, I'm getting like that kind of Eeyore type energy, like woe is me, like I knew this was gonna happen. But here's the thing, like in this particular case, that actually wasn't gonna happen. You kind of manifested that reality by the games that you were playing, right? Or this person manifested that reality by the games that they were playing. But I don't know why, but I kept getting this message of like someone taking bad advice. So this is why I'm using this picture right here, because in this picture you can see like Winnie the Pooh is stuck in this hole, and in the next picture you'll see that the hole actually above it says Rabbit's house. So like, first of all, you're somewhere you're not even supposed to be to begin with, but that's neither here nor there. But he's stuck in this hole. And then you have Gopher who's coming, and Gopher's not a bad character in the show. He's not a bad character in the show. But for the purposes of this message, he's coming, he's kind of like looking at him a little bit angrily, like, but he's not really offering any real assistance. Like, I think in the episode, he was actually telling him something, but like, ultimately, you're not really offering me any assistance. Like, coming to me and giving me ill advice at this point doesn't really help my situation, right? So with that, I'm getting like this message of, how they say like less is more? Like they'll say, if you have something going on or if you're trying to do something, the less people you tell, the easier it's actually to manifest, because then you don't have people working against you. And I'm not saying that like there are all these people out there who are trying to stop you, but then, like truthfully, sometimes you never know, because I kept getting that energy of like, these people really aren't your friends. But like the less people you tell, the more likely you're able to manifest, right? So someone out there was going through some sort of healing stage, some sort of stage, like somebody out there really wants love, whether this be you, chosen one, that's in this regretful state, or this person that you walked away from that's in this regretful state. Whichever individual is in this regretful state is the one who actually truly wants love, right? So I'm getting that like you or them were in this state where they're trying to heal. They've had, a couple of bad relationships in the past, probably a very significant one that happened more recently. And when I say like, he's like Winnie the Pooh is stuck in Rabbit's hole, I'm getting that like, what I'm getting from that is like, so you're trying to move on. You want love. You're trying to bring love into your life. You're trying to heal yourself, but you're maybe treating other people as if they were your ex, right? Or you're treating new relationships, or you're moving in new relationships as if these people were someone else. So you're like in like your heart and your mind are like in the wrong place. Like your heart's in the right place, but your mind is not, right? So your mind is in the wrong place. So I'm getting one of those things where this is someone who, if you were talking to friends or getting advice from friends, what they were telling you was like the wrong thing to do. And the part in the song, with Be Still, where I think it's Janelle Monáe, who sings the chorus, and she goes, shine your, what she goes like, show me your right, shine your light. I'm wondering when will I know. So I'm getting like someone is like, I'm wondering, like they're wondering when they're gonna know when the right person for them is gonna come along. And the thing was, the right person for you came along, but you messed it up. Because you're thinking in your heart of heart, you're thinking in your mind. You're not thinking with your heart, you're thinking in your mind. Your heart's been hurt and been wounded so many times that you're no longer moving with intentions of love. Now you're moving, with intentions of logic, but it's not actually coming out logically, right? So you're wondering when the right person is going to come along, and you're thinking to yourself, well, when they'll come, I'll know. Well, the problem is the right person came, but by the time you knew, you had already played these games and you had turned this person off, right? From the games that you played, because technically you're still unhealed, right? And you can still, let me say something. You can still meet your person in the unhealed state. As a matter of fact, if you meet your person while you're in your unhealed state, you're going to know that they're your person because of the fact that they're going to be super patient and understanding with you as you're going through this state. But you still have to be mature and, and how you move dealing with this person, because a person that's healed, although they're going to be understanding and patient with you, is still not going to play games, because they're healed. They know their worth. They know their time is valuable. They're not here to play games, So I'm getting that, like, this person who's in this regretful state was playing games. Like, how, like, they'll be like, oh, well, date them all, sis. Or, guys will be like, well, I'm entertaining several people, which is fine. Unfortunately, when you come across the one that you want to be with, if that person is like, they're looking for something specific, like they're looking for a serious commitment, they're looking for marriage, they're looking for a family, you playing the field may be a turnoff for that person, right? But, as long as you're being honest about it, you're free to do or to move as you wish. But I'm getting, like, first of all, one thing that I'm getting is so stupid. I'm getting, like, that a friend told you or told them, hey, like, maybe this person was expressing to their friends how much they really liked you, or you were expressing to your friends how much you really like this person. And a friend was like, oh, well, don't, it's still too early. You don't know, this person may be trying to play you. You don't know their true intentions. So, like, let them know that you have other options. Let them know that you're, like, entertaining other people. Don't come off too strong, right? And although the friend may have thought that this was good advice, it actually was bad advice, because that person actually could have been an elevated soulmate. This actually could have been your person. But when you started, or when they started playing these games and being like, I have a date. I got to, date this Friday, that I'm going out for coffee next Saturday, or I got to date this Saturday, I'm going out for coffee next Tuesday or something. I don't know. Like, listing all these options kind of had you come off as like a playboy kind of, or like a girl who's just is entertaining too many men. And this person was, like, turned off by that. Like, ultimately, they ended up being turned off by that. And this is why I say this is so stupid, because for someone, I'm getting, you didn't even have all these options. Like, you didn't even have all these dates. You were literally just lying and being like, oh, yeah, I got to do this and meet this person and do that, even though you were literally going to work and going straight home, right? So you're turning this person off, and you're doing it with lies, with things that aren't true, because you're trying to make yourself seem like more of a catch. You're trying to make yourself seem more desirable. But here's the thing. When you came to this person and your true, open, honest, authentic self, you were never more desirable in their eyes than in that moment. Coming to, when you step to, like, a chosen one, or it doesn't even have to be like someone who's into spirituality. This can just be someone who is just true to themselves. When you step to someone who's true to themselves, right? The most attractive thing to that person is authenticity. And it doesn't matter if you're not happy with your weight. It don't matter if you're not happy with how you look. It don't matter if you feel like, oh, there are men out here taller than me who have more money than me. Oh, there are women out here who are smaller than me, who have, I don't know, better features than me. This person really, really fell for you because they fell for your authenticity, right? But being unhealed and being still in this insecure state, you tried to make yourself think, or make this person believe, that you were like this super desirable person with all these options. And you actually ended up turning that person off. And for some of you, I'm getting, you actually did have other options that you were entertaining, and that's fine. But for the ones who were pretending as though they had other options, like, that is, weird. Like, that's giving heavy, weird energy, especially if it's a chosen one and you were doing that. Like, come on now, you're supposed to be better than that. You're supposed to be above that, right? But even with that, for this person, if you were doing that based off of advice that you were getting from so-called friends or family members, like, just be careful or be wary of the advice that you get from others, right? And I'm going to tack another. Actually, there was another picture that was right beside the one with Winnie the Pooh being stuck in the hole. So I'm gonna go grab that other picture and then I'm gonna tack that in here. So I love the dynamics in this second picture, right? Because as opposed to the first image where Gopher was kind of just looking at Winnie the Pooh, kind of like in like a scolding, kind of disappointed manner. And if you know Gopher, he's a big talker, so probably talking, running off at the mouth, giving advice that at this point doesn't really matter here or there. And this picture, you'll see Christopher Robin, Roo, and Eeyore actually actively helping Winnie the Pooh get out of his situation, right? And the reason I love this depiction, because like at the end you see Eeyore, and if you know anything about the show, Eeyore is one of those heavy, woe is me kind of characters who is like always like he's a true definition of like manifesting your destiny in a negative in a negative manner, right? Because if you continue to speak on your life and speak on your opportunities in a negative connotation, then that's what you're going to manifest into your life. But here's the crazy thing. Even people who are super negative, even people who are always speaking down on their life and their selves, still can help other people out of their situation. And this picture is so powerful because even though Eeyore looks so down about himself, he is still always willing to lend a helping hand to help improve someone else's situation. And that's super powerful, right? But in this second depiction, these friends are actually helping, right? And there are more people in this picture, and I'm still one of those people who I'm like, less is more. Like, you can manifest things a lot easier if you keep it more to yourself. But if you want advice, and if you just have to tell someone, or if you're stuck about a decision that you need to make and you want an honest opinion of someone who can give an objective opinion, make sure it's from someone who is looking to help you improve your situation. Make sure it's from someone who is actively going to help you do something for your better, for the better of you, even if that means you're going to be in a position above where they are, right? Like, make sure that the people that you are opening up to and getting advice from are actually genuine, especially when it comes, well, not especially, when it comes to any part of your life, but like specifically this reading came through about love because all these love songs kept coming through. But if you have a friend, like a friend that truly cares for you and that wants to see you do well in life, if that friend is in a happy, healthy relationship, probably better to get advice from that type of person than to get advice from someone who's still single. Like, be mindful, like, heed the message, but be mindful of the messenger, right? Be mindful of the messenger, right? Because if you're getting advice on how to have a successful relationship from someone who's single and is probably like angry, one of those, there are no more good women, or one of those, there are no more good men, I probably would, no. I definitely would not be seeking relationship advice from someone with that kind of mindset. So if the person who's giving you advice on how to move and navigate through this relationship is someone who is single and bitter, then you, my friend, are a fool for taking that person's advice, right? Take the advice from those who are in the state that you desire to be in, right? Take advice from those who have the things that you desire to have, How is someone who doesn't even have what you're looking for going to help you obtain it? And not that they can't, because even in this picture, Eeyore is, trying to help Winnie the Pooh improve his situation, even though Eeyore's character feels stuck in his life in general, right? So I'm not saying that it can't happen, but I'm just saying, like, heed the message, but be mindful of the messenger. I'm going to tell y'all like a quick little personal story about myself, right? Because like, I feel like sometimes people get judged, like especially with this new era where men are like, don't date single moms and don't date women that, XYZ, and women are like, well, don't date men that, have children, don't date men that are broke, that don't make a certain amount of money. Like, it's both true. Like it's duality, right? The statement that you can't change someone is both truth and lie at the same time, right? Because especially if you are someone walking in your purpose, whether you're a spiritualist or not, if you're someone that's walking in your purpose and that like is your true authentic self, like people can see that and people's spirit reacts to that. You ever heard the saying like, you and I dated the same man, but we didn't date the same man? Like, people will respond differently to you, one, depending upon what you allow, and two, just depending upon you yourself and your character, right? So you may have someone who will date someone and maybe their relationship is very rocky, very tumultuous, very lacking, but then that person will go get with someone else and they will have a very fruitful, very abundant relationship. And people will be like, oh, well, it's because that person didn't really want you, they were just using you to elevate their situation. And that happens. Both men and women, it happens every day. But sometimes it's the person, right? And it's not necessarily that the person changed them, that the person required, and it's just, well, let me change that. It's not necessarily that the person changed them, because at the end of the day, the only person that can change you is you. But what happens is that person that they were with had standards, they had morals, they had certain requirements of things that they would and would not put up with. And that person changed themselves. They elevated themselves. They went within, you know what I mean? And really got in tune with their higher self in order to match and meet that other person at the level that they were at. So it's not that person changed them, it's that person sparked them to have a change within themselves. Because at the end of the day, only a person can change themselves. But it's very possible for two individuals to date the same person and get two completely different outcomes from that one person, right? So, personal story. I dated a guy, this was years ago, and I had just gotten out of a really, really bad relationship, got into a relationship with this guy. He's another one who he ended up telling me that like he had a crush on me for like years and just never said anything, whatever, excuse me, whatever may have you. But when we started dating, he was really nice. He was really sweet. I mean, a great guy. He really cared for me. And he actually wanted to get married. But my family didn't like him. My family was like, he's not good enough. He's not even in college. He's not doing it. Here's the thing that they didn't know. He actually wanted to go to college, but was had some insecurities. He didn't do too well in high school, not because he didn't have the potential, because he didn't put in the effort, and that goes to another thing. Like, if you say, well, oh, I'm not going to be able to do this, or, oh, I won't be, or that won't happen for me, it's not going to, because that's what you're putting out into the universe. And you're going to get, you reap what you sow. What you put out is what you get back. So be careful of how you're speaking about yourself. But he didn't put very much effort in when we were in high school, which is why he didn't perform very well. So he, was very insecure about whether or not he would be able to make it in college. So he, that's the reason he didn't go. It wasn't for a lack of desire. But, my family was like, oh, well, he's not good enough. You don't want to saddle yourself with someone like that, blah, 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 blah. So I ended up ending the relationship. Why? Taking poor advice. from those around me, instead of looking at the fact that this man really loved me, he really cared for me. He wanted to, we were young too. We were young. I think I was like 20. I had just turned 20. So we were like super young at the time. Right? So I, ended that relationship. He ended up, and here's the crazy thing, he ended up going back to his ex, who his family actually didn't like, right? His family didn't like his ex. That was the reason why he had left her. They didn't like her. They were speaking very negatively, very poorly about her. But he was the type of person where he knew he wanted a family. He didn't want to just be out here dating, just to have something to do. He was very intent about, he wanted children. He wanted a family. So him and her got together. We remained friends for a while, but the recession hit, what was that, back in 2008, I believe, where the economy got like really bad, and, people were losing their jobs. He lost his job. Actually, when we were dating, he had 2 jobs, and he wanted us to get married. At the time, I was in college, and I was like, well, we don't have any money. How are we going to be able to afford a place? Like, what's the point of us getting married? And I'm still in school, and I was like, what's the point? So he was already working 2 jobs, and this person went and looked for a 3rd job. And I'm like, sir, like, when are we even going to have time to spend together and enjoy a life if you spending every second of every day at work, right? But either way, the recession hit, and he ended up losing, his jobs, and after that, him and his ex, him and the young woman, they ended up having a baby. He impregnated her. They had a baby, so they were together for a while. We still stayed in contact. Then he got her pregnant a second time, and they ended up, getting married. His family was saying that, like, her family was pressuring him into it. But at this point, y'all have 2 kids together. Y'all are going to be in each other's lives. So why not just do it? Right. So they got married. They've been married ever since. And I mean, they've just been having like a rough time. Like, he still struggles with employment. He still struggles to be able to provide, and just not, and I don't really want to say this, but I'm only going to say it because, and I'm not giving like his name or anything, so it shouldn't matter. But even after he got married, and this is the only reason why I know what's going on, because he told me, but even after he got married, he came to me like years after and told me, he was like, it should have been you. It was supposed to have been you. And anyone that's happily married, in a relationship, with someone that they want to spend the rest of their life with, is most likely not going to be going around making statements like that. But he basically told me in so many words, or he told me straight out, that it should have been me. It was supposed to have been me. Right. But my family was like, see, you dodged the bullet. You dodged the bullet. You dodged the bullet. Like, that would have been you stuck in that situation with a man that can't provide, and you would have ended up getting pregnant and having all them kids, and you would have been stuck. But see, here's the thing. Here's the thing about that, right? When the recession hit back in 2008, I was still in school at the time. I was still a student. So it didn't really affect me, because I'm still a student out here like a clown, living off of student loans, not realizing that when I graduate, Uncle Sam is about to be at my door like a Jehovah's Witness, right? But I'm still living off of student loans, using that to get by. So like, the recession didn't hit me. It didn't faze me, right? So I'm thinking I'm just like, a lot of college students at the time when this stuff was happening, we were still kind of like ignorant to it all, because it wasn't really necessarily directly affecting us, more so those who were actually out in the world, living, working, and providing. But I was like, the type of person that I am, I knew he wanted to go. He didn't even like want to go to school to get like a bachelor's or a master's or anything. He literally wanted an associate's to do like this certification, to do something that he really wanted to do, right? And was letting doubt and fear get in his way. I said, here's the thing about that. It's crazy because let me make this little quick interlude. Some of these certifications nowadays are paying for themselves. Some of these associate's degrees nowadays are paying for themselves, because I have plenty of friends who went to school to get bachelors and were still working entry-level jobs, who went back to school to get masters and are now in thousands of dollars. I know some people in hundreds of thousands of dollars in student loan debt, and are working these jobs where they're basically getting paid entry level, right? And then I know some people who went to school and got a 2 years associate's degree, and and were smart, because you have some bigger schools, you have some universities that offer associate's degrees now. Some universities do, but like back in the day, when I was in school, it's like, in the early 2000s, and then back in like the late, 1990s, it used to be that associate's degrees, you could only get those from like your local community colleges, right? So like, and community colleges, as you know, were a lot cheaper, because most of them you commute, you don't actually stay. Now they do have some that have actually really, really, really improved, and they have on-campus living, But it used to be like for the 2-year degrees and for the certification, the continuing education programs, you would go to a community college and you would commute. So the only thing that you were paying were tuition, fees, and books. So they were significantly cheaper. So I know people who went to school back in the day, got a 2-year associate's degree, came out, and although they may have came out making entry level income hits different when you only have to pay off $7,500, $10,000 associate's degree, versus when you come off making entry level money and you have to pay off a $60,000, $80,000, bachelor's and master's degrees. It hits different, because I know people who, got an associate's degree have been paid that off, and have, continued to get promoted and increased in their job, and are making the same as people I know who have masters, are making the same income. If you choose the right degree and you choose the right skill, a certification and associate's degree can actually take you pretty far, right? But anyways, I digress. He wanted to go to school to do like a technical program where he would have gotten an associate's degree and a certification. And I said, see, the type of person that I am, instead of trying to have him get out here and look for work at a time when no one could find work, let alone someone who didn't have who only had a high school diploma. I said, I would have been the type to tell him, well, hey, now is the perfect time to go back to school. So I said, yeah, his life may have turned out in a certain manner, but I said, you can't definitively say that I would have been in that same situation if I would have chosen to be with him, because I'm not her. I would have been the type to tell him, look, since work is not in the way anymore and work is not a factor, go back to school, go to school, get that degree, get that certification, and you would have been able to get a much better job in the end anyways, right? So I'm just like saying all that to say this, like, be very, very, very mindful of the type of people that you're getting advice from, right? Because even if you have friends, and it's not always meaning that people are giving you ill advice, it could be someone who actually is a friend, who actually does care about you. But if it's ill advice, it's still gonna land you in, it's still gonna land you in a spot that you don't want to be in, right? So just be mindful. Be mindful of the things that people are telling you. If you met someone and that person is literally, like you feel it in your heart, like something is different. Like you feel it in your heart that something is different. Don't treat that person the same way that you would treat these other people who have done you wrong in the past. If that person is different, they need to be treated differently, right? But I'm like heavy getting the feeling, and it, especially when that song came on, Close Friends, because it really came off as someone who, like, you guys were talking a lot, about very intimate things. Like they were sharing like a lot of intimate, details with you about stuff they had been through, or you were sharing intimate details about things they had been through. And they were really filling you on like just a whole nother, I'm getting like this person This person loves you and they didn't realize it until after you left. They did not realize that what they were feeling was love because it was so genuine and it was so pure. It's like nothing they felt before. So they didn't realize it was love until after you left, right? Or if it's you, chosen one, out here clowning, you didn't realize it was love until after they left, right? But especially that part in the song, I don't know if y'all can hear my stomach growling, but I'm hungry and I'm getting ready to get some breakfast as soon as I get done recording this. But the part in the song where he goes, I did the unthinkable. That to me, I'm getting like this feeling that someone, and I honestly, I don't know why someone would do this. People do it all the time. Because I myself have experienced this and I've never understood it. When he said I did the unthinkable, I'm not even hearing like it's something big, like, oh, he cheated and came back with a baby. Like, no, I'm hearing this is like something where you, chosen one, or that person, chosen one, if you're the one in this state of regret, they told you something specific. Like, in my last relationship, this person did this, or they lied about this, or I found out they were doing that, or this person just up and left and walked away and ghosted me. And it left me heartbroken. It left me distraught. It left me destroyed. Like, this person did this. And I'm getting like, this is what you or that person did. The one thing that they were like, this hurt me the most. And like I said, it's not something big. It's something small, like they just abandoned me, no explanation, no nothing. And it left me empty inside. I'm getting, this is what that person did. This is what that person did. And it, I'm not going to say it destroyed them because, if this is you, chosen one, you are already going through your healing state anyways. So it hurt. It hurt. They were very upset about it, but because they're going through their healing stage, it didn't hit as hard as it could. But what it did was it left a bad mark to the point where this person is like, you are basically on their, I'm hearing like blacklist, like you got blacklisted, right? I'm hearing that like, you can go back and apologize, and I don't know, for some, because someone out there is letting pride get in their way. Someone, I'm getting that someone did this as a result of bad advice that they got from someone else. And you can go back and you can explain that, well, I got advice from, blah, 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 this, that, and the third. And they'll accept it. They'll listen to it. But that doesn't necessarily mean, because at the end of the day, you're an adult and you're responsible for your own decisions. And if you allowed someone to influence you like that, to where you would allow that to negatively impact, your relationship or a potential relationship, then it just shows, I don't want to say weakness, but definitely that there are some areas that still have where there's a lot of growth needed, right? So it's still either way a huge turnoff to this person, right? They may allow you back in as a friend. And if they do, it's going to take a long time, a lot of work to build back up to that point, if ever, if they haven't met someone else at this point, because I'm getting a lot of there's new opportunities and there's someone new coming in. So you may have missed that ship, or they may have missed that ship altogether. But like that love that you were looking for was right there, right? And that's where that song Be Still comes in. Because it's like where she goes, be wise, my dear, you must learn to just be still. Stop acting on impulse. Stop acting on impulse. You need to learn to just be still, because the Most High is sending you this love that you wanted, this love that you're trying to manifest. The Most High is sending it to you, but you're so active, you're moving, you're doing so much that you weren't still to the point where you could recognize what it was that was being sent to you, right? And then she goes, be still until you really, really know. Show me your right. Shine your light. I'm wondering, when will I know? Well, unfortunately, you knew, or they knew. Like I said before, whichever person is in this regretful state, because I'm getting both energies. Some from this person who left a chosen one, and others from this chosen one who left this one who was supposed to be their person. But you're wondering, when will you know? Unfortunately, if you would have held on, you would have known at the appropriate time, and y'all's relationship would have been one that would have been very fruitful. Because like I said earlier, like, or I've been saying for the past few weeks, few months, like, there's love coming in and there's abundance and things coming in, but some of you guys are missing it. You're missing it. Like I said, I don't want to put fear into anyone's heart, because fear is opposite of love, and it's one of the hardest things to kind of heal from, right? Because you get that fear that gets instilled in you, and it's like it's stuck, right? But some of you, unfortunately, are missing your ship. You're missing your boats. You're missing your opportunities, because you're allowing other people to steer your ship. You're allowing, and I'm like super serious about my spiritual growth. I took or I'm still taking it, because it's like 11 hours long, the God Power 2 that's hosted by, or was hosted by, Billy Carson and Dr. B. Sears. I'm taking that class, and there was one part in there where he talks about you are both the captain and the crew of your ship. You're as you're manifesting, you are the co-creator, right? But so that like analogy came to mind as I'm saying this, but you allowed someone else to steer your ship is basically what happened, and they steered you right up off course. So you still have love coming in. You're still going to have other opportunities to come in, but now you're going to have to, what did they say? The GPS, like when the GPS gives you directions and they try to give you like the fastest way to get somewhere, and you make a wrong turn or you do something, it's like recalculating or redirecting, right? Now that you've missed that turn, now the GPS, now the Most High is having to redirect you. So now you're going to have to take the longer route to get to your destination. But fret not. You do have love coming in. You do have love coming on the way, but you were supposed to have it this year. And that person, or, if it's that other person, they were supposed to have it this year. You were supposed to be going into the new year with this fruitful, very, love-filled relationship. But that's okay. You still have more coming, but just be mindful. Make sure you are the captain of your ship. And if you're dating someone and you have any sort of doubts or fears or questions, talk to that person about it before you go to anyone else. If you're looking for marriage, treat that relationship. Like, I'm not saying I don't want to say that, because I don't want to be like, treat every relationship like a marriage, because that's not necessarily the best advice either. But if you were in a marriage with someone and you were having issues with your spouse, who's the best person to talk to about that? Your spouse. Stop getting advice from other people. Speak to that person, right? And chosen one, if it's you, and if that person is coming to you, especially if you know that this person is still going through their healing process, they're still slightly unhealed, be open and make sure that when they're coming to you and they're asking questions and they're wanting clarification, be open and be honest, right? Because that's really the best way that you're going to be able to navigate these waters, right? Because relationships, they're not easy. And with a lot of I don't know where the phrase tomfoolery came from. When we were younger, we used to love saying that. We used to be like, oh, this tomfoolery. Like, I still have never actually learned where that phrase come from. But we used to be kids running around talking about tomfoolery. But in the dating world today, there's a lot of tomfoolery that goes around. So I understand the hesitation, but like, just be open and be honest. And you can actually tell, you can actually learn a lot about someone just by having a simple conversation. Listen to their responses, watch their reactions, right? That'll tell you a lot about a person, but you're not going to learn a lot about your intended if you're asking questions to your friends. That's not how that works. That's not how that goes, right? But either way, y'all, this was a long one today. This was a long one, but I want to go ahead and record this and post this and put this out, because like, I want to get that feeling of like regret and anxiety off of me, because I'm like seeing someone like wanting to say something, but at this point it's a matter of pride and the fact that it's been so much time that now they're allowing fear, to keep them from reaching out, right? But I I wanted to go ahead and record this and get this out because I don't like having that feeling of like anxiety, that feeling of like uncontrolled nervousness. I hate that feeling, right? But I'm literally getting this is what that person is feeling. And like this person, if you guys are friends on social media or any other kind of platforms, this person is looking at your page. They're looking at when you're posting, or if this is you, you're looking at their page, you're looking at when they're posting. For someone, I'm getting you're checking timestamps. I don't know what that means, or I don't know, because I don't know how other platforms. The only thing I'm familiar with is YouTube and Facebook. I don't know how other social media sites work, but I'm getting someone that's like checking timestamps and trying to compare, and I don't know what you're comparing or what you're doing. But if you're doing all that, you might as well just pick up the phone. Like, I'm just saying. But either way, y'all, just be mindful, right? Heed the message, but be mindful of the messenger. At the end of the day, this is your life. This is your path. This is your destiny. Yes, there are many different routes you can take to get to the same location, but we want to make sure that we're taking the one that's going to not just get us there the quickest, but get us there with the least amount of setbacks, right? But this whole Earth School is about, navigating. What did Dr. B. Sears say? Course correction. He said, the biggest part about this journey is course correction, right? So I guess this is just going to be one of those times. But the next time someone comes into your life and, you start getting skeptical and you start getting, and that those old kind of like things start popping in your head, the doubts and the fears and all that start popping into your head. I just want you to take a second, step back, and whatever you're feeling, I want you to just reach out to that person and have a conversation, because one of the sexiest things ever is really just having an intimate, open and honest conversation with someone. When you're starting to have those feelings, reach out to that person and discuss that with them, right? See their reactions, see their responses. And either they're going to say something you don't like and this is not the one, or their responses are going to do nothing but assure you further, right? But either way, y'all, this is long enough. This might even be like my longest message yet, but that's going to be the message for today. As always, chosen ones, starseeds, magicians, high priestess, shamans, and I'm about to go lay down because I'm actually getting a little bit drained after recording this. Thank you for coming to my page, as always. Thank you for taking the time to listen to these long messages. Ooh, I probably stumbled a lot through this one today because I'm starting now to feel very drained. But thank you for listening. To those of you who are subscribers, who watch previous videos, as always, thank you for returning and watching the newer ones that I post. Every like, comment, view is greatly appreciated. That is going to be it for today. Thank you for listening. Bye.